I'm Stephan Serraino, and this is my story. Growing up with dyslexia was very difficult because all my friends, they could read almost perfectly, right? They could read something and then completely understand it after they finished reading it. But for me to actually fully comprehend, fully understand something, I would have to read it over and over and over again. From hearing what they think dyslexia is, they say it's like, oh, so you see things backwards, basically. But that's not entirely the truth. There's nothing wrong with the dyslexic's eyes, right? We can see things perfectly fine. It's just how we comprehend things, basically. If I would have to define dyslexia to somebody who doesn't know it, I would say it's basically it's a learning disability that you have trouble reading, speaking, and memorizing. Students with dyslexia or any other learning disability, they struggle with their confidence because they feel like they're not at the same level as, let's say, their friends, or the same level as they wish they could be. And this can really affect their mental health because they believe that they're not good enough, and even though they do try the best to really reach that level, it's still very difficult for them to accomplish it. I feel like a lot of people with dyslexia or any other learning disability they're very good at problem solving, and especially compared to someone else without any learning disability or disorder, they would probably just, I wouldn't say give up, but they wouldn't try as hard, because people with dyslexia, they genuinely want to succeed. They want to learn. They want to climb the mountain, basically, and get to the goal. And especially with me, I used to use dyslexia as a disadvantage, basically. Like, I can't do this because of my dyslexia, and I say things because of my dyslexia. But lately, I've started to use it as an advantage. A person with dyslexia is forced to think more analytically when it comes to solving their problems. There are many successful people that have dyslexia, so that really motivates me to keep going, that even though they struggled and they succeeded, I feel like I could do the same. People with dyslexia, they have to study twice as hard. They have to work twice as hard. That amount of work you put in, that amount of effort, it makes you proud of yourself, basically. It makes you want to, even though you fail, you encounter all these disadvantages, you really you keep going, and you don't stop. A big advocate, I would probably say, for my elementary school, middle school years would be my mother, because my mother also has dyslexia. She would advocate for me. She would say all the things I was too afraid to say. If you're in school and learning is difficult for you, I have a few pieces of advice. Just continue going. Don't give up. Don't think of another way to approach the problem. Think of something that outside the box, right? The more you struggle, the more you're going to appreciate the information you gain. Thinking differently is not necessarily a bad thing. I feel my opinion though, I feel that it's very important to be different and think differently, do things differently, because that makes you who you are. Having a learning disability can increase the chances of you having a mental health related problem. I've definitely struggled with anxiety most of the time, especially with math. Math is definitely one of the top courses I've trouble with. Ask for help. You can ask your teachers, you can ask your counselors, parents. Maybe they'll advocate for you, like my mother. Have the courage to impact your changes today that will affect your tomorrow in a positive way. Dyslexia it's not a disadvantage. It's another way of thinking. Having a learning disability allows you to see the world differently. So embrace it and think different, because that will lead to your success. So because of my dyslexia, I'm very artistic and creative. I love filming, I love making music. I love putting all these different ideas that I have for everything and trying to expand it in. Sometimes I can express art better than my own words. And I think that's something anyone with a learning disability can relate to. I'm Stephan Serraino, and thank you for listening to my story.